Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful evening with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, Astro-Numerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. And as you see, the guest today obviously is me. Okay. How are we doing today? It is good to have you back to join the Live with Lloyd family. Thank you very much for those who subscribe and share and whatever, share, scribe, and whatever the other one is. I thank you very, very much. Today is going to be very interesting. It started with a quote near the end of on Wednesday's show. And what I did was in fact, it started with this. It started with Hippocrates said, a physician without knowledge of astrology has no right to call themselves a physician. But I'll get on that first. But let me let you know that today's segment, this is the last week that the Circle of the Traveling Spread will be sponsoring the show. So please go to stshealing.com, stshealing.com. And by the way, for those of you who cannot make it, I know it's right around the corner. And you know, a lot of times we like to wait to the last minute. Please go here because we now have offered live streaming too on the 18th and the 19th. So go to stshealing.com, stshealing.com. And I want to let you know, in addition to the live stream and going to stshealing.com, there will be sponsored hotel stays. Let me repeat, sponsored hotel stays by Guap Coin at discounted prices. So for those of you who wanted to go and maybe a little short of change and whatnot, go to stshealing.com. Tell them you'd like to be under the sponsored stay by Guap Coin and get discounted prices on the room. All right. And before we start, I want to let you know that today, okay, that's right, like, share, and subscribe. I knew there was one thing missing. Today is Monday, of course. It is the 14th. We are almost halfway through the month of August. The sun is in Leo. The moon is in Leo. Went early in the morning, and it's going to be a new moon on Wednesday. When we have the next show, it's a 6 universal month, an 8 universal week, and 11 master number universal days. So if you happen to be a Leo or an Aquarius or Gemini or Virgo, all born on the 2nd or the 5th, the 11th or the 14th, the 20th, 23rd, or 29th of any month, this is your day to rock. Let there be no question. Again, I was getting a little ahead of myself because it was interesting because we were talking about um, Hippocrates. You know, he is the father of modern medicine. Okay. So what happens is when I was talking to an astrologer, he had actually gave me a quote, but I couldn't quote it right. But I wanted to thank this sister who did give me the quote right. And she says, Hippocrates said, a physician without knowledge of astrology has no right to call themselves a physician. And in fact, when I went to Google or to get quotes from persons like Hippocrates, this is the same thing. A physician without a knowledge of astrology has no right to call themselves a physician. Now, do you know what that tells me? That tells me that obviously, if Hippocrates said that, he himself, in order to make that statement, had to have a knowledge and use and practice of astrology. It's just that simple. So, whereas he is the father of modern medicine, it is Imhotep, which is the father of ancient medicine. In fact, he was a high priest, and there in the nation or in Egypt, he was known to be the guy was brilliant, seriously, a statesman, a scholar. And in fact, there's a quote that I took that says this: I can listen to you and comfort you, but only you can overcome your fears. Only you can bring yourself into the balance with Mayat. Okay. And this was a quote. This quote seems to be hard to find, but I know he was an author, he was an architect, he was a statesman, he was just brilliant. And when I say architect, this is the structure. This structure here is called the step pyramid. He built it for the king, the Egyptian king in the third dynasty. This is one of the oldest structures on the planet to this day. Now they have other step pyramids in Mexico. They even have step pyramids in Iraq and other parts of the world. But this is the daddy of these step pyramids that Brother Imhotep built. Okay. And in fact, he was considered the reigning genius of his time. So that brings you to the subject of what I'm going to talk about, which is numerology and your health. But before I do that, what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you a 2-3 minute clip of sayings by Hippocrates. And I'm saying if these modern doctors really studied the sayings that he said, like, make food your medicine and medicine your food. Although with things ultra processed now, that might be a little bit hard to do. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on the screen here, so you can see it for yourself. Let's pull this up. Okay, there we go. Add this to the screen. Okay, let me see. There we go. And what we're going to do is I'm going to play this for you and let you hear from some of the sayings of Hippocrates, and you see for yourself.
The timeless teachings of Hippocrates. The renowned physician, Hippocrates, known as the founder of modern medicine, left us with quotations that continue to inspire and advise us today. Join us as we examine Hippocrates' deep ideas that have resonated across millennia, from the power of food to the significance of a healthy lifestyle. Prepare to discover the secrets of total well-being. Let's get started.
The human soul develops until death. If you are in a bad mood, go for a walk. If you are still in a bad mood, go for another walk. Excessive food causes disease. All disease begins in the gut. New food can only be taken when the old one is out of the stomach. Hunger weakens and kills a person. Heavy food destroys the human body. Therefore, you need to look for the middle. Disease that come from overwork are cured by rest, and those that come from idleness are cured by work. Work, good spirits, and the striving of the mind for perfection, for knowledge, lead to results that adorn life. Idleness is the source of all vices. Where there is no idleness, there is no evil. The natural healing force within each of us is the greatest force in getting well. Very often the best medicine is to go without it. It is necessary to treat not only the disease, but also to counteract the causes that cause it. In despair, the sick person brings himself closer to death. Any excitement and strong manifestation of feelings is dangerous. In everything, a slow transition from one to another is important. Time always contains an opportunity. When the brain is healthy and in a calm state, a person thinks sensibly. The drunkenness of fathers and mothers is the cause of the weakness and sickness of children. Do not tell your illness to anyone. Otherwise, you risk getting advice that can harm you. Burning yourself will always make you shine for others.
All right. Okay, there you go. And so
I've more than doubled my Signal account this
year. Let me get this. Okay. All righty. Okay, I am back. So now my focus is good. Anyway, so what I wanted to do was I was trying to look for something similar to Imhotep. I didn't find anything this glosses over like that, but there are two documentaries that, for those of you who want to know the power of Hotep, because a lot of these Greek and Roman historians that came, the father of this, the father of that, actually learned in the land of Egypt or Kemet and the other names they refer to Africa back in the old days. So what I'm saying is I would recommend for those of you who want to see, these are the two documentaries, the Penn State documentary of Imhotep. That was very interesting. They showed you illustrations, pictures of him, pictures of his mother, the things he did, why the brother was so deep, why he was the genius of his time. He was the reigning genius, okay? Ben Franklin had nothing over him. Trust me on this, okay? They like to give Ben Franklin credit. I have no question about that, but let us not leave out the credit and dynamic contribution of Imhotep to medicine, to architecture, to author, to his texts of wisdom and things of that nature too. Please let us not leave that out. So if you can take a picture of this, freeze frame it, and go and look at these. They're both about an hour. So if you in a rush, but take your time so you can really understand why Imhotep was almost deified as a god based upon his brilliance as a genius. So with that, now I want to talk about your health. Here's how it works. I want you to get a pen, paper, because what happens is each number rules a part of the body. I don't know whether you've ever seen these old astrology books or even modern astrology books. They'll have the symbol of a man, and the Aries will be pointing at the head, Taurus will be pointing at the neck, and then it goes all the way down, Leo at the heart, so-and-so, so-and-so, all the way down. Then it gets to the 8th house, which is dealt with the reproductive organs. And I think that's why they refer to Scorpio as the sex sign, because that is the area when it gets to that section of the body, that rules the sex organ, okay? And then you get the Sagittarius, which is the hip and the thighs. And then you get to Capricorn, which is the knees. Then you get to Aquarius, which is the ankle. And of course, you get to Pisces, which is the feet. What I'm saying is that these have been recognized as descriptions, not only for the zodiac signs, but for the numbers too, way before Big Pharma came on the scene, way before modern medicine, way before John D. Rockefeller took over and started making the Big Pharma what it is today, which is really a mega giant. And so what I'm saying is, what I'm going to be telling you is, like, as they say nowadays, there's no substitute. Please consult your doctor, okay? We're not trying to take the place of doctors, but I'm trying to tell you that the men and women of old and ancient understood that if you were born under a certain constellation or born under a certain birthday, you too would exhibit these characteristics of potential illnesses. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the number 1. Now, the number 1 means anybody born on the 1st, the 10th, the 19th, or the 28th, or if you're under the sign of Leo. This means, number 1, people normally have concerns with high blood pressure. They also have problems with the eyes, like astigmatism. The one thing I noticed with women who are number 1s or Leos, in a minor way, Aries, they have more problems with the left eye rather than the right eye, okay? It rules high blood pressure, heart palpitations, heart murmurs, irregular blood circulations, and some concerns with the lower back. So with number 1 people, their most challenging times is normally in January, May, and October, and just several days before you hit those months. So if you're having a low, now let me tell you how this is coming handy for me, and I'm going to deal with the rest of the numbers. I've met people from other parts of the world, especially the Caribbean and the South. They will say they were born on this day, but the mother said they were born on that day. Or there are questions where they're not sure what birthday to do. One of the best ways that I can resolve it for me, in my experience of doing this, is I ask the health questions. So, for example, if a person is born on the 10th and a person is born on the 5th, they're not sure whether they're born on the 10th or the 5th. I'll read, well, the number 1 rules this. The number 5 rules this. And they can almost tell which one. Then there's a combination. Give you an example. Several days ago, I read a person born on March the 10th. Now that's a 1, high blood pressure, heart palpitations, lower back, eyes, things of that nature. But because they're under the sign of Pisces, because they have their indicators too, Pisces rules low blood pressure, concerns with the hip, the thighs, and the feet. And this person told me that when they go to the doctor, sometimes it's high, then sometimes it's low. So I've learned how to, which is why I am an astronumerologist, combining both the ancient arts of astrology and numerology together. Astrology is more popular of the two, of course, but I got to tell you, numerology is much, much older. If you're a number 2 person that is born on the 2nd or the 11th or the 20th or the 29th of the month, if you notice how, if you write the 2 on a piece of paper, it's almost shaped like the intestines of the stomach, because that's exactly what it rules. Intestinal problems, stomach problems of all kinds. With women, it rules sensitivities with the reproductive organs. With the men, it rules the prostate. Okay, it also rules tumors, ulcers, hemorrhoids, diabetes. The person is also very finicky or fussy or particular about their eating habits or dietary laws, which is why they make vegetarians and semi-vegetarians and things of that nature. Their most troubling times of the year seems to always occur around the months of January, April, and November. Number 3 people. Number 3, if you're born on the 3rd or on the 12th or the 21st or the 30th of the month, well, that governs low blood pressure. It governs the skin. Most women I know who are 3s, born on the 3rd, 12th, 21st, 30th of the month, or under the sign of Pisces or Sagittarius, because numerically, that is also under the dominion of the 3, based upon the planet that rules it, which is Jupiter. Well, almost always, most number 3 women I notice wear very, very little makeup, because 3 rules very sensitive skin. So males and females, especially when you're going through those teenage acne phases, trying to get all the things that covered up. So I noticed that very, very few women particularly are very light on makeup. And if so, they try to get organic makeup, Sephora, or whatever they got out here for the sisters or the women in general. It also not only rules low blood pressure, the hip, thighs, and feet, but it also deals with the kidneys, things like that. But I also noticed that 3s also rules anxiety attacks or panic episodes. Or is it panic episodes and anxiety attacks? But the point is, that is what it tends to rule. If a person is born on the 4th, the 13th, the 22nd, or the 31st, all come under the constellation of Aquarius, a lot of their illnesses has a lot to do with the mindset. They go into a funk. It rules mental depression. It rules self-inflicted wounds, odd and unusual illnesses or diseases difficult to diagnose. To the extreme, it rules suicide, which is something I rarely don't say. And if you notice, this nation is ruled by the number 4. And I've noticed how they talked about how there's an overwhelming increase of mental challenges. That people are walking around very depressed with mental challenges. So since this is a number 4 nation, it doesn't surprise me in that sense. So, and of all the people, 4 tends to be misdiagnosed. They tend to be, just as people tend to misread them in life, 4s tend to be misdiagnosed more than likely. The rule of thumb is in astrology. This is not pharmaceutical. I'm telling you what the ancients said. Okay. For 4 people and 8s, which I'll get to in a moment, you should always go and get examined when the moon is in a cardinal sign. What does that mean? Cardinal means signs that represent a change of the season. So go get it when the moon is in Aries. That's the cardinal sign for spring. Or get it when the moon is in the cardinal sign of Cancer. That's the season for summer. Get it in the cardinal sign of Libra. That's in the cardinal sign of fall. Or get it in the cardinal sign of Capricorn. That is in the sign of December. Okay. So, or winter. The point is that 4 people tend to be misdiagnosed. And I always advise a 4 person or an 8 person. I'm not a doctor. Don't let's not get this twisted, but I'm saying of my decades of doing this and reading countless clients, in my estimation, and from what I've analyzed and seen and read, 4s and 8s, the only 2 numbers that I suggest if you're really, really ill, according to a doctor, go get a second opinion. All right. It's not that the first doctor don't know what they're doing, but normally the 8 and the 4s tend to be misunderstood, not only by people in general, but by medicine also too. All right. So for number 4 people, they need to be careful in the months of January, May, and October more than any other months. For the number 5 person, born on the 5th, the 14th, or the 23rd of the month, or under the sign of Gemini or Virgo, it rules the nervous system, mental exhaustion, mental irritability, vertigo, amnesia, paralysis, things of that nature, fear of heights, um, nervous and mental breakdowns. However, I noticed one of the number 5 is the only one that does this, or Virgos and Geminis. If when they are under a lot of pressure, undue pressure, almost always because it rules the nervous system, there's normally some twitching around the mouth or the eye. And if your lip get jumping or your eye get jumping, that's Mother Nature's way of telling you you need to hit the brakes and slow it down. Because 5s like to do things quickly anyway. All righty. And Geminis and Virgos too. So what I'm saying is, these are some of the observations of the ancients. This was way before Big Pharma and all these medicines and all their drugs and pills and whatnot came on the scene. No. And in fact, there are certain foods and herbs that are good for you too. I'll save that for another time. But in the meantime, I just wanted to focus on the health part, only because I thought it was interesting that if Hippocrates says to be a good physician, you have to know astrology, that tells me right then and there that he had to know astrology in order to make that statement. How else would he made that statement if he didn't know it? Okay. So anyway, that's for number 5. Don't forget. And by the way, there are challenging times as always in January, March, and December. All righty. For the number 6 people, well, that rules the nose, the throat, the upper part of the lungs. They normally suffer with allergies and hay fever and heart palpitations and irregular blood circulations. With women, though, I notice is sometimes sensitivities with the mammary glands. So they may discover in showering or whatever a lump or bump, and they go to the doctor. I don't know how the doctor do it. They tell them nothing to worry about. But I know this in the old days in the South and in the Caribbean, the elder women were referred to women who have nodules or lumping in the breast area, milk fever. Where that term comes from, I don't know. Maybe somebody want to do a little research on it, but I do know that that's what they refer to. Or they will have sensitive mammary glands, and thus the first thing they do is take off their Playtex, Maidenform, Warner Bra, whatever you'll be wearing, and relieve themselves. Okay. So anyway, so their time for to be most careful is always in January, February, and August, more than anything else. Number 7s suffer with worry more than any other number. They worry about this, they worry about that. Half the things they worry about never comes to pass. Anxiety episodes. Also, they suffer with night sweats, things of that nature. And especially with a 7, when they get past the point of worry and look back, it was no big deal. But you can't tell a 7 that. They'll worry. And so that is one of the things. Night sweats, sometimes the stomach. And they also like the 2s are very kind of finicky, fuss about what they eat, how they eat, when they eat, and things of that nature. Their challenging times of the year is always in January more than anything else. If you look at the number 8, that is those born on when I said the 7, that meant the 7th, the 16th, or the 25th, or if you're under the sign of Pisces or Cancer. So for 7s, I don't know whether I left that out because my mind is kind of making sure I stay focused. For the number 8, if you're born on the 8th, the 17th, or the 26th of the month, or if you're under the sign of Capricorn and in the minor way Aquarius, you, like the number 4, will tend to be misunderstood. Number 8 will suffer with the knees, the teeth, the bones. In astrology, in women, it's normally to the left side of the body. In astrology, in men, it's normally on the right side of the body. These are what the ancients describe, not LLoyd Strayhorn. Okay? So don't take my word for it. You go through all these books I got, and you go get your own books and do your own research. You will see. And not only that, but go out in the field and test it, which I've done. This is why I can speak with that sense, not the authority of a doctor, but the authority of a person in the metaphysical arts as I've trained myself to be. So these are the things I'm saying. They tend to be misunderstood. The knees, the teeth, the bones, arthritis, stoppage of the intestines, which is constipation. So I always advise a number 8 to have a meatless meal at least twice a week, if possible, preferably on Wednesdays and Sundays. These will be the days that work best for them. Um, they also suffer with, again, headaches. All right. Those are the kind of things they normally have challenges with. And their most challenging times normally comes in February, June, August, and September. Just as we have a high, we have a low, and these are the months that represent the low. All righty. And saving the best for last for 9 people. Nines, people born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th, or if you come under the signs of Aries or Scorpio. Those are the ones that tend to be more accident prone than illness prone. Nicks, cuts, burns, bruises, explosions, things of that nature. They need to avoid handling things dealing with guns and sharp instruments and knives and whatnot like that. They need to slow it down with the driving, because 9s are fiery and they're very passionate. They love action. They love to get to it right away. But so diseases don't like them. Accidents tend to like them more so than anything else. So then when I combine these birth numbers, and by the way, the months that are very challenging to the number 9 is January, May, July, especially, and October. These are the 4 months where when 9s hit their little valley, it's normally in those times of the year. So see for yourself. It's not only in my book, Numbers in You, it's in a whole lot of books as I've got on the subject of astrology and numerology. There's what is called medical astrology, and they can tell you how long you're going to live and when you're likely to make a transition. I'm not into that. I let them do that. I think the creator has enough problem trying to decide who's not going to make it in the morning without me getting in on the act too. Okay. So I know when to leave well enough alone. So the point is, though, is that all of you, and it's not to take the place of medical doctors. Please go to a doctor. But what I'm trying to do is make you aware that if you have some concerns, to kind of maybe look and see what your number or your sign is and see that any of that applies to you. And so since this is a part of the Live with Lloyd family, you want to see, does it affect you? Does it affect your mate? Does it affect children? And there's a whole lot more nuances to this too. And also there are herbs and fruits that are very good for each of the numbers and respective signs I said. That's in my book. So if you want to go to find out more in more detail about numerology and health, go to page 225. And on the next, after that chapter, you have herbs and fruits that are very good for you. Because as Socrates says, make food your medicine and medicine your food. Nowadays, with everything ultra processed, GMOs, there have been more sicknesses and illnesses than any other time in terms of our great grandparents and their parents and things of that nature. There were illnesses, yes, but not as complicated as much as it is now. So I'm not trying to knock nobody, okay? I'm just saying you only have one life to live. And what you want to do, because I'll put it like this. Suppose a person has made millions of dollars and they get sick. Guess who's going to take it? The hospitals, the doctors. You know, some people got medicines that cost literally tens of thousands of dollars just to be cured. If you are sick in the city of New York City and you call an ambulance, it's going to cost you about $900 to $1,200 to come and get you. If you have to be rushed to emergency, it might cost you somewhere about $1,500 to $3,000. And that's before the treatment starts. So make health your wealth. That is the best formula to do. You only got one go round with this piece. And so the pharmaceutical business is obviously doing extremely well. And what I'm saying is you should have the attitude about taking better care of yourself. I'm sure most of you do, or try, but do the best you can and be more conscious of what you're taking in and avoid GMO products and whatnot like that. Try to eat as organic as possible. And people will say, well, organic costs a lot. Well, do you wait till you get your hospital bill and you see which one is cheaper? Okay. Almost always, the organic way to go as much as possible. And so now they got GMOs, they got this, that, and the other. They got all kinds of things that's going on that is not natural. And as a result of the 21st century, since about the 40s and 50s, more people are catching diseases that they never had before. because of all the goings on, and they put in foods, red dye number 15, blue dye number so and so. And so what I'm saying is just be more conscious about what you put in your body. And again, I will take Socrates, Hippocrates one more time: make food your medicine, and make medicine your food. And I think y'all will live longer, be much happier and healthier, live longer. Man was designed to live a very long time. If you look at the ancients in the Bible, they was designed to live easily. And in some countries, living over 100 years is no big deal. Okay. Here in this country, the average person lives to about 84. Okay, so that's an 8 and a 4 coming together, which is normally an indication numerically of some challenges. But normally that is the lifespan of the average person in this country, about 84. And then when you talk about ultra processed foods and things of that nature. So yes, I am into health, obviously, and you should be too, because it's very, very expensive to get sick, folks. It's painful. It's debilitating. Okay. It keeps you from being in performance and enjoying your life, what life you do have. And not only that, but then when it's coming out of your pocketbook, okay, out of your bank account, you begin to see the wisdom of taking care of yourself very much. So much credit goes to Brother Imhotep of ancient Egypt, to Hippocrates, and he even recommended walking. Just walking does wonders for you. But nowadays, we tend to go from the house to the car to the mall back to the car, and the car back to the house. And we don't walk. Some do now. People are more conscious about trying to walk, but there are a lot of things that can be done. So if y'all got some quotes that y'all can find by Imhotep, I couldn't find the quotes that I want to find, like I found with Hippocrates, whereby in a snippet you could get a couple of sayings, but he had much more sayings than that. And so what I'm saying is, the next time maybe you see your physician, you ask them, do they have a knowledge of astrology? They should not be insulted. Why? Because Hippocrates says, for those that don't have it. And let me use his quote one more time, please, so people, don't be tripping. He says, a physician without a knowledge of astrology has no right to call himself a physician. Now, Lord Strayhorn didn't say that, okay? I ain't say none of that. I'm saying when they got these quotes, and he was back in the day, back in, I think, 360 BC, okay? So this is all I'm saying to you. If they had that kind of wisdom then, you need to take advantage. So whether it's modern medicine from Hippocrates, ancient medicine from Imhotep of Egypt, follow the advice that makes you a more healthier, thus a more wealthier person, because the healthier you are, the more money you keep in your pocket. That's all I'm saying. So with that, I'm going to go to the viewers. And by the way, let me let you know before I get into that, please take advantage of, for those who want to attend, who cannot attend physically, you can attend live streams, such as the technology nowadays. And it's going to be live on Zoom on that Friday and Saturday, the 18th and the 19th. And for those who are maybe short of a little funds and still want to go there, the Gap coin, thankfully, is sponsoring discount prices at the hotel stays. So to find out all this information of how to join live stream, how to take advantage if you want to participate physically by being with us, go to stshealing.com. That's stshealing.com. I repeat, stshealing.com. And again, I need to thank this sister here, Arit Mayet, who got me thinking about this, because I quoted it. I misquoted. I said all kind of ways, but the way I should have properly said it. But before I left and I was screening, she did that. So I wanted to give her props for doing that. Then I did the research and this, that, and then I did quotes. So I like to go down the rabbit hole when I'm in the thing. So anyway, now we're going to go to our viewers and we're going to see what's going on with them. And let me see something. And by the way, please do not get this twisted. It is not a good, nowadays, it's not a substitute for the medical profession, because they would have a little problem with this. But I'm saying the problem isn't with me. They need to look at these ancient books that was written way before Big Pharma came on the scene. I'm talking about way before it was even thought about, way before even John D. Rockefeller was born, okay, to start this stuff. So these are what the ancient says, all right? So anyway, let me kind of go back a little bit. Okay, this person is Sherry Turner, and it's now here's how this works. She says, I want to need to know what I should be doing. Well, first of all, you're in a 6, so that means a good year for adjustments, a good year to go back to school, a good year to take care of yourself, depending on how you maintain your health. And now, see, here's how I would read her in a health sense. In a sense that, first of all, she's a 2. So I know she has to take care of her stomach and digestive tract. In other words, by proper diet. And normally, a lot of 2s are very fussy and finicky about what they eat anyway. Many of them are vegetarians, semi-vegetarians. They don't eat no pork. You know what I'm saying? They're crustaceans and they just eat fish or whatever the case is. And so not only would she have a sensitive stomach and maybe a sensitivity challenge with the stomach and reproductive organ as a woman, but because she's a Gemini, it rules the hands, the arms, the shoulders, the nerves, vertigo, paralysis, amnesia, mental exhaustion, nervous tension. She don't have to have any of these. You got to understand. It's just that these are what her sign and numbers indicate. But this is your year to fall in love and fall out of love too. Okay, with your 2 of spades self. You said you're a 2 of spades with a life path of 1. All right, which tells me in the 1st grade in the school of life, which means learning how to stand on your own 2 feet. Okay. By the way, your key numbers are the 2, 7, and 5, and you'll find that Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays are your best days. Now, this is a person here. Wow, another number 2, and you know today is a 2 universal day. Now, here's the difference with Simone Wealthy. She is a Taurus 2, where the first caller was a air sign with a water number. This is an earth sign with a water number, which is a totally different energy. So yes, you'll have concerns with the stomach and digestive tract, sensitivities with the reproductive organs could be. And not necessarily, don't forget, none of this is locked in stone. It's just giving you a tendency of where. And in fact, I'm going to have a doctor on Wednesday that's going to tell you how he's applied this to his medical practice. All righty. And I'll explain that at the end of the show. But anyway, because she's a Taurus, not only does it rule the stomach and digestive tract, it also rules the upper part of the body because it's ruled by Venus that governs the upper part, like the lungs, the allergies, hay fever, heart palpitations, irregular blood circulations, and because of woman's sensitivities with the mammary gland as well. Okay, so that would be it. And so her key numbers are the 2. In fact, where the first reader was in a 6 personal year, this was in a 5 personal year, which means more freedom to come and go, more opportunities to make some changes for the betterment in their life and whatnot. And so they're at a turning point where they're about to shift from going from one direction to another direction or going forward or moving backwards. It all depends on how things are happening with them. Their key numbers are the 2, 7, and 6, and they'll find that Mondays and Fridays are also their best days as well. All righty. Let me see. This is Blue Leaf. Now, Blue Leaf is a Cancerian. She's born June. Well, I don't know whether it's a she. I always assume because most of my clientele are always women. Anyway, this particular individual is a Cancer 8 person, right? Now, 8 rules the knees, the teeth, the bones, arthritis. It also rules things like rheumatism, constipation, or stoppage of the intestines, they say. But because this person is also coming under the sign of Cancer, it also moves up to also the stomach and digestive tract. Okay. If this person is a male, it means, yes, thank you. Yes, I'm a she. Good, good. So it means in addition to this, that she would be the person who may have, in addition to knees, teeth, bones, whatever the case is. And you got to understand, she doesn't necessarily have to have these things. The numbers and the signs only indicates tendencies toward these indicators that helps you help your doctor understand you better. Okay. And so the 8 deals knees, teeth, bones, stoppage of the intestines, whatever the case is. And if she's having a problem with the knee, for example, it's probably more to the left side of the knee, because in astrology, they normally give the left side more to the woman and the right side more to the male. That's one of these astrological secrets when you've been studying this stuff a long time. And then because she is a Cancerian, it also rules the stomach and digestive tract, sensitivities with the reproductive organs or female problems. It rules tumors, ulcers, hemorrhoids, diabetes. It rules cancer too, to a degree. But the point is that if this person goes to a doctor and they feel that in the first diagnosis something is wrong, go get a second opinion. The rule is for 4s and 8s, don't tell that second doctor what the first doctor found. You want to see if the second doctor's opinion comes up with the same conclusion, the same diagnosis, the same prognosis, okay? But normally for 4s and 8s, the best time to always go set an appointment is when the moon is in one of the cardinal signs of Aries for spring, Cancer for summer, Libra for fall, and Capricorn for winter. All you got to do, you don't need no ephemeris anymore, no moon book. All you got to do is go to Google, all right? And they'll tell you, where's the moon at today? They'll tell you. All right? Before, you need to get one of these books on the ephemeris or something like that in the back of the days when I was doing this. But nowadays, all you got to do is just go to Google, where's the moon at today? Period. And if it's in one of those cardinal signs, for 7s, for 8s and 4s particularly, that is when you should go. For you. Other people, yeah. But because 4s and 8s tend to be misunderstood in life in general, and medically in particular, that means they should go where the moon is in their favor, normally giving them the best prognosis about how things are working. All righty. So that's how I'm seeing it. Okay, let me do someone else. Let me go back to the top. I do want to thank everybody for listening in with this. Give me your opinions or whatever you think, whether any of this fits you, don't fit you, whatever the case is. And I'm just telling you what the ancients have described, which I've shared in my book. And it's not only in my book, any good medical, any good astrology book or numerology book, if they get to the sections of health, will be repeating the same thing. So my thing is, from doing this so long after many decades, is how did these people know that if you were born in this time of year, you exhibit that kind of personality? If you were born into this time of the year or under that certain number, you would indicate those health tendencies way before medical doctors got here, way before they got here, okay? So I think if maybe you know, if doctors who pledged by the Hippocratic Oath and whatnot take that line about those who are good physicians need to have astrology. If not, they're not. Maybe they need to take that at heart as against knocking it and saying, yeah, that's false. If so, why did Hippocrates say it? I mean, let's use some common sense up in this piece, okay? Why would he say that? And I'm saying the fact that he would make that statement so clearly means he had a knowledge of astrology. He's got to have it in order to make a statement. You don't make a statement about something you don't know nothing about. But anyway, again, this is why you got to think for yourself, folks. There's nothing wrong with listening to other people, getting other people's opinions, but you got to think for yourself. There is no substitute. That's why God gave you gray matter, just like there is no exclusive on gray matter. It's what you do with your gray matter. It's what you do with your mind, your brain. It will make all the difference in the world, okay? So anyway, I got that out the way. Thanks, Lisa, for the chat. I appreciate that very, very much. I read her. I think she is a Pisces. I think March the 4th or March the 7th. Anyway, I try to remember because I talked to so many people, and especially I definitely want to thank the Williams family. They have been so supportive of me ever since I came on board about a little over 2 years ago now. It's Stephen and Carol Williams out of Chicago. They are so nice. They both water signs. But anyway, thank them very, very much for that. And okay, let's see. Now, here's another one. This is Dee Dee Bird. All righty. Now, Dee Dee Bird is a Taurus 1 person. Now, this is what's interesting about this combination of a birthday, health-wise. First of all, they're in a 4 personal year. 4 is a number that says, young lady, you gotta dig in, you gotta handle your business, and you got to deal with your needs versus what you want. You might want to do this, but you need to do that. That's the kind of year it is. It's also the kind of year where what you put in is what you get back in direct proportion. So if you ain't making enough to put nothing in, don't expect nothing to come back to you. It's like a boomerang effect. What you send out there is what's going to come back to you. But medically, numerically, and astrologically speaking, okay, let's be clear where I'm coming from with this, and see your doctor. But number 1 always rules the eyes. So if you wear glasses or recommended you wear glasses, that wouldn't surprise me. It rules the heart. It rules heart palpitations, heart murmurs, irregular blood circulations in the lower back. Now, what's interesting, the 1 and the 6, which is Taurus, have similarities that it rules the upper respiratory part of the body. Taurus or 6 rules irregular blood circulations. The number 1 rules irregular blood circulation. So during the allergy seasons, if you were like coughing and sniffling and stuff like that, that would not surprise me. And number 1 also rules the lower back. So for you as a sister, it would probably mean more to the leaning more toward the left side of the back. If it was a brother, more toward the right side of the back. Okay. But because this year is a 4 and your key numbers are the 1, 4, and 9, it simply means also making sure that you monitor what you take in via radio, television, and stuff, and whatever you're taking in, try to keep it as positive and upbeat as possible, which is a little difficult because nowadays it seems like everybody want to talk about who shot John, who did this, who got killed, who got burned. I mean, it's enough to get you depressed, okay? And with the cycle that you're in this year, which is a 4, it means that kind of watching something else will kind of change your moods and make you feel better. So if you are in a funk, that would be it. But I tell you this, you don't take orders well. I can tell anybody that don't play the system. All righty. So anyway, thank you very much for that. So let me go back. I always thank my moderator, Jazz Aphrodite, who does a wonderful job with this. Now this I'm going to do is Denisha. Let me look at my time. Okay. Denisha Hansen, and she wants a reading for her daughter, please. Her daughter is October 14th, which makes her a Libra 5. Now here's a case where it's an air sign with an air number. And air means people are always into their head, always thinking and stuff like that. So her daughter's born in 2005, which makes her about 17 or 18 right now. So in this case, her most important numbers are the 5, the 6, and the 9. Her daughter happens to be coming up. She's in a 4 personal year by my standards, but other numerologists, she'll be in a 4 personal year in October. But let's say she's in a 3. I'm gonna try to satisfy both worlds. So if she's in a 3, that means she's been busy. And since 3 is her opposition number, numerically speaking, that means, and especially with her being a teenager, she may be met with more challenges. And all teenagers think they know more than their parents. So if she's kind of giving you a run for your money, stuff like that, that would not surprise me as such. And so she has to be careful of overextending her nerves, excitability, a little panic episode, things of that nature, since she's in a 4 personal year. But altogether, though, health-wise, the nerves, mental exhaustion, nervous tension, followed by sinuses, allergies, and little sensitivities with the mammary glands, especially coming into her own as such. But her key numbers are the 5, 6, and 9. And the best days are always on the Wednesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday. Those would be the best for her. All righty. So we have a Dominican Republic in the building. Thank you very much. We get a lot of people in the building from all over the planet now. This is good. And by the way, please leave your comments one way or the other. I'm trying to learn some things as I go along, and it's very, very nice. Okay. I did Sherry. Okay, good. Let me see who else we got here. And again, let me tell you this. For those of you who wish to come to the event this weekend in a matter of days, that's going to be very exciting. You're going to have five powerful people under one roof. Nina Diamond, Aquarius Maximus, Jazz Aphrodite, King Simon, and I. We're going to be at the Hilton there in New Orleans doing that Friday and Saturday. It's going to be awesome. So because of the lateness, okay, and let me just put it up so you can see again. They now have live streaming, all righty? So if you want to, you can't get there physically. You can definitely get there via electronics. So there's no excuse now. That's the one thing that the pandemic did. It brought Zoom into a, boy, if anybody had some stock on January before they shut down the country in March, they'd be looking lovely if they had some Zoom stock. I tell you that right now, okay? But you go to stshealing.com to find out how to stream, how to be a part of the streaming process where you can watch it live. And that's stshealing.com. Do that. And for those of you who wish to be in the area and can come, and maybe the money is not quite right, there may be some help in the offering, because Guap Coin is actually sponsoring discounts for some of the rooms there. So please go to stshealing.com to see how much you can, see if you qualify or whatever, and take advantage and join us there. Okay. So with that, let me get back to, let me see the comments. All righty. Somebody says, happy birthday to you. Well, if today is your birthday, Lakeem Morehouse, very good for you. You are a Leo. And if today is your birthday, you are a Leo 5 person. So let me tell you about you. You were old when you were young, and you got young as you got older. And so did the men too. Okay. None of my business. But here's what I mean. Because of the fact of where you were born in the month of August, especially on the month itself, which is August, which is ruled by the number 8, that is a maturity number. So it tells me you will always mature at a very early stage. Okay. Thus, you felt that if you got somebody your big brother's age, almost your daddy's age, your uncle's age, you can handle it. But as you've gotten older, and you did not say the year you were born, but I suspect you may have been around a bit. And now if you're past 29 into the 30s, I'm going to say all of a sudden you're going to notice a shift. And that shift is going to be also that younger men are now going to be looking at you. And since today is your birthday, August the 14th, it tells me your key numbers are the 5, the 1, and the 4. And I will say this about relationships. 5 is considered the sex number in numerology, like Scorpio is considered the sex sign in astrology. Here's what I'm saying. 5s tend to have no problems attracting the opposite sex to them. And in fact, 5 is one of those numbers that always have multiple relationships. Not always necessarily. You could be married to and blue to your husband, but there's going to be somebody out there that's going to want to see if they can do you a solid. Well, girl, I know you married Lakeem, but, can we hang out anyway? You know what I'm saying? Won't leave well enough alone. However, I will say this too. The secret to holding on to you, because you got 7, so you're not, there's a private side. I'm seeing you got several 7s in your name. So that means you're kind of low key and laid back. But the secret to holding on to you is to let you go, because you're ruled by air. Air, I mean, I've got air in this room. I can't lock it. I can't grab it and hold it and contain it. So that's kind of how you are too. And I would say if you're settled into a relationship, probably the person that's been in your life the longest or the most has been that person that let you breathe. Okay. So anyway, those are your numbers. All right. The 5, 1, and 4. Now let me go back to this person here, Soraya K, on the 25th. I got about 5 more minutes, and I'm going to make some announcements and then close out until Wednesday. This person is an Aquarius 7 person. They're born on the 25th, which is a 7. So one thing about this number that it indicates to me, Soraya, that you are a person that's kind of private. You are the kind of person that kind of like to stay to yourself. And it's not that you are antisocial. 7, the 25th, is a number that likes to be its own best company. And Aquarius is normally the sign that likes to be its own best company. That's why they wind up being inventors like Thomas Edison. I mean, Thomas Edison he took 10,000 times before he got the light bulb straight. So he certainly wasn't hanging out. Okay. He was in his lab, as Hank Raza's son calls it, and whatnot. So you would probably be that way too. The one thing I notice about 7 women, though, unlike 7 men, if you are attractive, if even halfway attractive, okay, call it what you will, to a greater or lesser degree, other girls normally will refer to you as thought you snooty or stuck up, or who do you think you are? But that's because 7s are very laid back. They will get into your business before they give up their business, as a rule. And so therefore, people would think they're always prying or being nosy. But if you've ever had that response, but on the health side of the tip, since we've made this the subject of this topic this evening, it means worry, night sweats. It has nothing to do with your hormones. And then because you're an Aquarius, it all depends on how your mood is. And so less television watching, or if you watch something more positive, more upbeat, something more entertaining or more laughter than, heads rolling down the steps and spooky stuff and all that scary, devilish stuff. You don't need that. That will cause you to go into a funk, whether you know it or not. So being positive or read positive books or reviewing The Secret that was popular several years ago, those things would be very helpful to you too. But your key numbers, though, are the 7, 2, 4, and 1, and Sundays and Mondays, and in a minor way, Wednesdays are your best days. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we got here. And I'm going to take about one or two more. And okay, this lady says she is from Paris. It's the first time she's on live. Hi, and Sarah. She is born at 1:50 a.m. Okay. Can I have a reading, please? She's born 6/19. So she would be a Gemini 1 person. Here's what that means to me. Her numbers, first of all, are the 1, 4, and 5. She is an air sign with a fire number. She is in a 5 personal year. And since 5 is one of her numbers, that means she's at a pivotal point to make some major changes in her life for the better. Health-wise, she may wear glasses or been asked if she wear glasses or may have laser treatment because the left eye, normally the tendency in the female is on that side, where had it been a male, it would probably been more the right side that may have been a little bit more astigmatic or something like that. So let's say she don't wear glasses, or on bright, sunny Parisian days, she probably walk around with some shades where she looked like Ray Charles or Michael Jackson in Paris, okay? It also indicates, too, it rules heart palpitations, irregular blood circulations, the lower back. Those are normally it. But because she's a Gemini, also it rules mental exhaustion, nervous tension, vertigo, amnesia, paralysis, the hands, the arms, the shoulders, things of that nature, fear of heights, things like that. But those might be it. But again, her lucky numbers are the 1, 4, and 5. And thank you for joining us all the way across the pond in Paris. I think the Paris. It's interesting. The United States' birthday is July the 4th. And I think as Bastille Day, as they call it there in Paris, your neck of the woods, is July 6th. So that's very interesting. So that explains some of the friction that may go on between Paris and the United States, which Josephine Baker, who was born on June the 3rd, brought those two nations together with a Gemini. She was a Gemini like you, and that's the only reason why I brought that up. Anyway, I'm going to take one more, and that's it. That's it. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, I'm going to take, thank you very much, Jahan Brown. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. You are a Taurus 5 person, which means you're air number with an earth sign, or I should put it an earth sign with an air number. So that tells me that this particular year for you finds you in a very soul-searching energy. You're in a 7 personal year, and this is a 7 universal year at the same time. So if you've gone deep down the rabbit hole to reflect, to look and learn, to discover and unearth and get to the bottom of something, of why things are happening in your life, that makes total sense to me. Also, I've noticed too, although Taurus is an outgoing sign and 5 is an outgoing number, if you've been kind of withdrawn to want to get away from the noise, the drama, the confusion, all that other stuff, to go somewhere where there's the sand, the sea, and the sun, as I say, that would make all the sense in the world to me. However, if you want to get in some specialized field of study, this is the perfect year to do so. And since you are under the law of attraction, which is the universal year 2023 anyway, do not chase after what it is you want or desire, but think about it, and the magnetism of that energy of constantly thinking about it will come to you. So as I tell all of you, if you're thinking poverty, that's exactly what you're going to wind up with the end of the year. So monitor your thinking, and everything is what we want is in our minds. All you got to do, especially in this year of a law of attraction, because it's not going to come again until 2032. So if you fool around and miss this year, you're going to have a long time to wait before you exercise the law of attraction on a very continuous basis of 365 days in the year. All righty. So your key numbers are the 5, 6, and 9. And your best days are always on a Wednesday, a Friday, and a Tuesday. All righty. So everybody, I want to thank you very, very much for this. And let me just remind you that this week's show has been brought to you by the Sisters of the Healing Spread. That's 5 of us are going to be there in a matter of days. So please join us if you can, live if possible. because for those who do make the effort, some of the hotel rooms will actually be discounted for you because it'll be sponsored by the Guap coin. They have decided to put their funds in to make it easier, to have no excuse. If you just shy a couple of dollars, just apply. Go to stshealing.com and apply. But for those who can't get there because of distance and whatnot, whether you're in Paris or some other place, I forgot last week's, a woman was far, far away, also Canada. That's where she was. She was in Canada, so she couldn't get there. So we're providing live streaming. So please join the Circle of Cosmic Consciousness Retreat virtually, live stream. All you got to do is go to stshealing.com, stshealing.com to make a note of it and put in your bid and get there, so you can just sit back on your couch and your popcorn or whatever you do and relax and enjoy the consciousness raising that we're going to do. All righty. So I want to do that. Also, I want to let you know that in my app, my Star 8 app, believe it or not, I also have a health section. I don't go into a detail like I go into my book and whatnot. It's just to kind of get you kind of started. And it's not a substitute for doctors, all right, nowadays, all right? Because under normal circumstances, these things would count. But with all the processed foods and the chemicals they put in food, you might need to go to a medical doctor. But if you got a Star 8 app, it has a little description in it for you. All righty. On Wednesday, I'm going to have this Dr. Uchenna Hackett, who is a doctor there in the beautiful city of Trinidad and Tobago, or the country of Trinidad and Tobago. He is a doctor by trade, one of the finest gentlemen I know, and he has used astrology and numerology to diagnose his patients. So this will be a follow-up from his special gifts of doing it, and he tells you how it works. And for those of you who wish to get my app, just go to astar8.com or just go to your Apple store or your Google store and just simply download it for you. Okay. And if you have any questions or suggestions, if something is not working, because it's far more complete now than what I want, but if it's not quite a glitch or something, go to astar8llc.com astar8llc@gmail.com and leave a comment, screenshot, or whatever. I'll make sure I send it to the developers, then they'll get right back to you. They've been pretty prompt with that. This has gotten us faster to the level that I want and satisfaction for it. And don't forget to please pick up your monthly newsletter for August to find out what's happening, because as you know, there are no less than 6 planets retrograde, and I think Mercury is going to go retrograde toward the end of August. So it's a very interesting summer. This is a year, and you know what makes this interesting? This is the year of the 5. The 9 for the United States. And if you notice the fires and everything that's going on, the heat, the high heat. So I think it's very, very interesting of things that's going on. But anyway, I want to thank all of you very, very much from the bottom of my heart. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday, okay, with my special guest. That will be the 16th, my sister's birthday. All righty. Everybody, I want you to have a nice day. Take care of yourselves until then. And thank you.